And Lil doesn't want to make a deal. And now I'll tell you what the Rav said about the concept of Judaism. Listen to the Torah says sometimes you stand by one word, and that one word makes all the difference that it is. In Shmos, the Rebbeinu Shalom found Moshe Rabbeinu, and this is what the Torah says: Vayhi, Vayomim Mohem, Vayomim Marabim Mohem, Vayomos Melech Mitzrayim. The king of Egypt died, Pharaoh. Vayonchu b'nei Yisrael min avoda, Vayizaku vatal shavosam el Elokim min avoda. The Jews were persecuted, and they shouted, Vayizaku vatal shavosam, and their shouting was heard in the heavens from the difficult work. Vayishma Elokim es nakosam, he heard their anguish. Vayisko Elokim es briso, he remembered his covenant. And his covenant to who? To Avram, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov. Vayar Elokim es b'nei Yisrael, and the God of Israel saw the conditions of the Jewish people, and here comes the word. Vayeda Elokim, and God knew. Fragt Rav Soloveitchik, what did he know? What did he know? The Torah says Vayeda Elokim, and God knew. First he describes all the suffering, he hears their crying, and Vayeda Elokim, and God knew. He says, God knew they should be redeemed. The time has come from Mitzrayim. So watch the next pasuk. So God knew that the time has come that they should be redeemed from Egypt. So if somebody would ask you, we're talking about God. We're not talking about Moshe, Chaim, Yankel, Pinchas. We're talking about God. If God knows that it's time for the Jews to be redeemed, how long should the redemption take? A quarter of a second? An eighth of a second? And how long did the redemption take? What's the next pasuk? Sagt Rav Soloveitchik. The next pasuk goes like this: Moses was a pastor of the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, who was the Kohen Midyon. And Moses comes to the burning bush. Now, when Moses comes to the burning bush, so the Rav asks this question: who can tell how long it took between the words Vayeda Elokim and the actual conversation between Moshe Rabbeinu and Paro? Did it take a second? Did it take 6 months? It took a long time. It took months. How do we know months? We know from the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu has to go back to Yisro. After he sees the burning bush, goes back to Yisro, says, would it be okay for me to take my wife and children? Now I want to go to Egypt. So now he's going to Egypt. You know, at that time you can't take a 767 to Egypt. It took months. Fragt Rav Soloveitchik, how could that be? Vayeda Elokim, the Rebbeinu Shalom knew the Jews had to be redeemed, and we gotta wait so long, Zukta. Why? Because the Rebbeinu Shalom is never going to do it by himself. It's the fundamental concept of Yiddishkeit. The Rabbanu Shalom, even if he knows the time of the redemption is here, now, the Torah tells us, I'm waiting for my partner. I got a partner with whom I signed a covenant, the Jewish people. If I got no Jews that want to go with me to help me, I'll wait it out. So says the Rav. That's why the Torah says, take a look at the Medrash. That Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't the only person that saw the snare burning. Medrash says every day people walk by that bush. It was burned. Bush. First, let's go further. That's the essence of Yiddishkeit. The Rabbanu Shalom knew that the redemption is here, but he's waiting for a shliach here on earth that also gets the message and says, I'm here too. It's the most fundamental yesod of Yiddishkeit. And it's a yesod that fits Chabad to the T. Because the Lubavitcher Rebbe came to America, saw the situation. He signed up for duty. Vayed Alokim, he understood. Vayed Alokim. God knows we got to go toward Mashiach's time. He knows. No? So why don't you do it a second later? That's the Rav's question. That's Rav Soloveitchik. If you know about it, so act on it. He said, I can't act on it unless my partner acts on it. Give me a partner and you'll see the Gula. And all over the world, Chabad gets the message. And I'm always impressed. From Vancouver to Florida, Japan, wherever I go, you need to have a problem, you call up Chabad. And there's one more thing the Rav said. You know, Chabad Shluchim know that Rav Soloveitchik came to the Rebbe's 75th, I believe, 75th birthday. On the day of Rav Soloveitchik attended. And the Rebbe, it's a well-known thing, the Rebbe stood up when the Rav walked into the Fabrenk. So, but what is not so well known is the Rav Yoshe Ben Soloveitchik once described the difference between him and the Rebbe. And this is what he said. He said, I have many Talmidim, Baruch Hashem. But the difference between the Lubavitcher Rebbe's Talmidim and my Talmidim, he said, if I will ask my Talmidim, I want you to go to this and this city and do something there. I'll tell you the truth, I don't know if any of them will do it. But by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he said, I don't know of anyone who will not do it. He said, and that's the difference between me and the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So that's the pshat that the Rav said of Vayed Alokim. God knew that the redemption is here, but he's waiting for the person that also gets it. If enough people would get it, the Gula would be here a long time already. So we should be zoicha in the good work of Chabad, that with your continued efforts all over the world and other Jews to follow, we should be zoicha to the Gula Shleima b'mhei of Yomeinu.